Michi dwellers, at the time of recording this, the spring equinox has taken place. Things are starting to sprout. You know what else is starting to sprout, Jay Sensei?
なんですかね。
Love.
お、
Love is in the air.
彼女ができたんですか?
Perhaps.
You got a girlfriend?
Perhaps.
Nice.
Uh,
いい
uh,
ね。
well, 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 things are working out right now, like there's some wheels turning. But last time we taught them how to take some directions. Now this time we're going to give them some directions on how to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or just to get laid. I don't know. That's up to you,
You know,
listener.
we'll at least tell you how to ask someone on a date, so that way everything from that point on is up to you.
Exactly. I give the listeners a hard time from time to time saying that they can't get no Kanojos, but I would be a terrible person if I did not help them learn how to get some Kanojos or
And
some kares,
and Tarik, for our listeners who don't know, what does kanojo mean?
Kanojo is girlfriend
And how's about
or
kare?
girl. Kare is a boyfriendo.
Yeah, it's a boyfriend. So one thing that's kind of funny is we've mentioned before on this podcast that he and she and him and her are not frequently used in Japanese. And that's what kanojo and kare also mean. Kare can mean he or him. Kanojo can mean she or her. But typically in Japan, it's more polite to just use someone's name. And so listeners, whenever you're wondering, crap, like, was it kare or kanojo? Just use their name because that's more polite and what Japanese people do anyways.
Right, and at the end of the day, it all just boils down to context.
It's true. What are the other ways of saying boyfriend and girlfriend?
Shoujo. Oh, wait, no, chauffeur.
Oh. That's not a real girlfriend.
That's a girlfriend that you pay.
You didn't have to. I guess all you did was have to. I was gonna say you didn't have to work for that, but I guess you do have to do a job to get money, so you can do that. But the correct word would be garufriendo.
Oh, girlfriendo. Oh well, I kind of employed that with a boyfriendo.
Yeah,
but
boyfriendo too. Yeah.
I said it like a gaijin, boyfriendo.
Boyfriendo and garufriendo are also completely normal ways of referring to girlfriends and boyfriends. Let's give one more just for fun. A lover is a koibito.
Koibito. Oh, I like that.
Literally means like romance person. Koibito.
Koibito. I fucking love that.
It's a good one, right?
Yeah. What about Suma? Is that like
Tsuma?
Yeah.
Tsuma is one's own wife.
Oh, okay.
So if I were to talk about my wife, I would say Tsuma. But if I wanted to talk about your wife or someone else's wife, anyone who's not me, I would say okusan.
Okusan.
Yeah.
And then if you were hypothetically gay, what would it be for her husband?
So if you were legitimate or hypothetically gay, a husband, one's own would be otto.
Uh-huh.
And then another person's husband, there's actually two words for it. You could say goshujin.
Goshujin.
Or danna-san.
Danna-san. And then for Suma, it was Suma.
One's own wife. And then okusan. Okusan for?
Someone else's wife.
That's right. All right. So, shall we dive into today's lesson?
I say we go for it, dude. I want to learn how to ask out some Japanese babes.
All right. So this is Beginner Season 2, Episode 5 in our Fundamental Mechanics of Japanese series. And we're going to talk about going places today. So, in today's conversation, Masahiro is going to ask Yui on a date. And this is in casual Japanese. So do not be deceived. You might see words like polite written in top right corners of things, but that's not the truth. It's a lie. It's a Truman Show.
It's a Truman Show, man.
So we're gonna
that girl you're about to ask out on a date. Well, it's all part of the show.
She's paid. She's just an actress.
Yep. I paid her because apparently that's what I do.
What are we doing? Like, we don't want to accidentally create incels out of people. Like, all right, so I'll go ahead and be Masahiro, and then Tarik, could you be Yui today?
I will be Yui all the way.
All the way, every day.
I'm all the way Yui.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. 明日仕事ある?
Yeah,
明日は休みだよ。
そうか、いいね。それじゃあ一緒に出かけようか。
そうしよう。どこに行く？
そうだね。映画に行こうか。
映画よりレストランに行きたいかも。
いいね。寿司を食べに行こうか。
そうだね。そうしよう。
All right, now let's go ahead and break that conversation down. I'll go ahead and read it to you slowly, and Tarik will, before that, provide us with the English translation. So, take it away.
Masahiro says, "Do you have work tomorrow?"
Ashita shigoto aru? Ashita shigoto aru?
And then Yui says, "Nope. Tomorrow I am off."
いや、明日は休みだよ。いや、明日は休みだよ。
And then Masahiro says, "Really? Great. Want to go out somewhere?"
そうか、いいね。それじゃ、一緒に出かけようか。そうか、いいね。それじゃ、一緒に出かけようか。
And then Yui says, "Yeah, let's do that. Where do you want to go?"
そうしよう。どこに行く？そうしよう。どこに行く？
Then Masahiro says, "Let me think. Want to go to a movie?"
そうだね。映画に行こうか？そうだね。映画に行こうか？
And then Yui says, "More than a movie. I'd rather go to a restaurant."
映画よりレストランに行きたいかも。映画よりレストランに行きたいかも。
And then Masahiro says, "Great. Want to go get some sushi?"
いいね。寿司を食べに行こうか？いいね。寿司を食べに行こうか？
And then Yui says, "Yeah, let's do that."
そうだね。そうしよう。そうだね。そうしよう。All right, Tarik, we have something cool to show our listeners today.
What do we got to show them?
We're going to use
Not
some.
getting naked. I'm not getting naked. For the 5th time, I'm not getting naked.
Whoa. I don't know who was asking that because it wasn't me. But
Oh, it's the harem in my head. Sorry. I conflate voices.
no, but we actually are going to use some online tools to give you listeners, especially those female listeners who want to hear what a female voice sounds like. We're going to have it read in a natural voice the female lines for this conversation real quick one time for you. So just so y'all know, this is from ondoku3.com. It's an awesome website where you can do some text-to-speech magic, and we are not sponsored by them, but the service is a really useful tool.
Hey, Jay Sensei, what's the Japanese word for magic?
Maho.
Maho.
Yeah, maho.
Maho.
It's like a maho no dogu, a magical tool.
I'm going to remember it because mahos are magical.
Oh.
Maho.
You know, I think everyone should try to like make memory devices like that. Like whatever you can do to make things memorable.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this is the line where Yui says, "Nope, I'm off tomorrow." And we'll go ahead and have the voice actor, looks like it's Shiori here. We're going to have Shiori read this.
いや、明日は休みだよ。
Nice. This next line is, let's do that. Where do you want to go? Where shall we go?
そうしよう。どこに行く？
It's pretty good, honestly. This next line is, more than a movie, I maybe want to go to a restaurant.
映画よりレストランに行きたいかも。
The next phrase is when Yui says, "Yeah, let's do that."
そうだね。そうしよ
Cool. All right. So, let's go ahead and break down today's vocabulary. Tarik, what's our first word?
Shigoto. Shigoto.
Nice. And in our conversation, they were asking like if someone has work today. How did they say that?
Shigoto ga aru?
Nice. So you can be like
Was
shigoto ga aru, and you can leave off the ga if you want to because it's casual.
Oh, so shigoto aru?
Yep, shigoto aru. And Tarik, what would be the opposite of like I have a job? So in other words, how would you say like I don't have work?
Shigoto ga nai. Or shigoto nai? Would that work too?
Yeah, you can say shigoto, ga nai or shigoto wa nai. Shigoto wa nai. Also,
Shigoto wa nai.
you'll hear that quite a bit. It's pretty natural to hear shigoto wa nai or shigoto ga nai. And those are all ways of saying I don't have work. But the word that we used today was actually our first expression. So this means that someone is off, as in they don't have work or they don't have school.
So that would be yasumi da. Yasumi da.
Good.
And keep in mind, the actual word is yasumi, and then da is basically
It's kind of like saying is.
Is, right.
So yasumi, this is a funny word. Tarik, we see this in words like oyasumi nasai.
Oh yeah, that's basically have a good rest. In my experience, I've heard that when I leave my local ramen shop for the night, and the waitress will say, "Yasumi nasai."
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah, and you can also
right?
say it to people who are about to go to bed, and it can be like saying, have a nice sleep, or good night, or have a good evening, kind of a thing. It's interesting because we have a lot of words that are used to say hello, or that can take the place of hello, like konbanwa, right? That is like a way of saying good evening when you are greeting someone at the beginning of an interaction. But at the end of an interaction, you could say, oyasumi nasai, if it's nighttime, to kind of say goodbye. And so yasumi, as in our expression today, meaning is off. This comes from the word for a vacation or a break or a rest. So literally, when you say kyou wa yasumi da, let's have Tarik break that down for us.
Today is kyo. Wa is, it's a particle, right? So
Subject.
the way that I translated in my head is as for today, and then yasumi is break or no work, and then da is. So as for today, I don't have any work. I'm off.
Good. Yeah, today is off. Today is a break. All right, our next vocabulary word means together, and it's pronounced ishoni. Ishoni.
Ishoni, and that means together.
And so let's see how you can use it in a sentence. This could come right before a verb if you want it to, and you could say ishoni taberu.
So I would imagine that means to eat together. All right.
How's about ishoni ikou?
Going together?
Yeah, let's go together.
Let's go together. Yeah, all right.
Now let's say this one. Ishoni dekakeru.
Ooh, the meat and bones.
Did you say the meat and bones?
The meat and bones.
Yeah, because that's our next vocabulary word.
It means to go out together. Dekakeru. Dekakeru. So yeah.
So
Ishoni dekakeru.
and that's how it was used in the conversation. To go out is really a unique English expression because it doesn't mean go and it doesn't mean out. It means something very specific. And at times that could mean that we are in a romantic relationship, we are going out. But that's kind of I'm sorry, I'm not in like elementary school anymore, so I don't say that anymore. But this also can then mean to go into town and to do something fun. And that's what it means in Japanese. Like dekakeru is when you leave your home to go do something fun, or maybe you're actually leaving your home to go to work. Dekakeru can be just, going out of your home to do various activities.
Naruhodo. So when you go out to do activities, you are actually going out to do something.
Ooh, and that's our next word.
Yeah, and you'll see this pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to see it in a bunch of different forms today. This first one that we're going to introduce is what we call the dictionary form because this is how it appears in the dictionary. The dictionary form of a verb is present tense and affirmative. So, what does that mean? It means that it's something that you do, it's one of your behaviors. And so, let's go ahead and, without further ado, hear how to pronounce the word to do.
Suru. Suru.
Nice. So we're just on a roll with these verbs, and our next word is also a verb, and it means to go.
Ikou. Ikou. To go.
This is also a verb in its dictionary form. So let's now check out our next word. This is a noun meaning movie.
Ooh, I know some of y'all like to make these things when you're alone with your partner. I mean, Eiga. Eiga. That means movie.
Our next word comes from English, and English gets it from French, so maybe we should say it comes from French, is restaurant.
Resturan. Restaurant. That means restaurant.
Cool. Let's now hit on the rest of our expressions. A lot of our expressions today use words that we've learned before, but they are combined either with other words or they have been changed into different forms, which we will present as expressions, but in future series, we'll actually break down the grammar of these different expressions and show you how you can take any verb and do the same thing with the verbs that we're going to look at now. But we're going to just have you, for the time being, memorize these as set expressions because they're used so frequently. And then when you actually then learn it as a grammar construction or a grammatical form, it will make a lot more sense. And so let's go ahead and get started with the second expression. This is something that means in that case or well then.
Soreja. Soreja. So someone's like, I don't have time. Jikan ga nai. And then you'll say, Soreja atode. Which means, well, in that case, let's do it later, right?
Yeah. So maybe you wanted to meet them, but they were busy. 今は忙しい。それじゃあ、後で話そう。And that would mean, oh, in that case, let's talk later.
Wakato.
Now, I just said hanaso. And Tark, did you hear the O at the end?
Yeah, I would imagine that means let's
That's
talk.
true. And that's the cool thing about our next two expressions. We had ikou a minute ago, which meant to go. And when we switch the final u on ikou with an o, a very long o, ikou, then it
Cool.
becomes let's go.
Ikou. Ikou.
Nice. And our next word does the same thing. However, suru, to do, is an irregular verb. So it changes in somewhat unpredictable ways. But no need to worry about that now. We'll break that down more in the future. Just remember that for now, to do is suru, but let's do something, let's do it in Japanese would be shiyou.
Shiyou. Shiyou.
So, Tark,
Let's do.
we can take those two things and then we can add ka to them. And how will that change it?
Shiyou-ka. What shall we do?
Nice. Or do you want to do something?
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah. So, like, if I were to say doshio-ka, that would be what shall we do, right?
Yeah, literally, how shall we do it? But that's how Japanese people often say, what shall we do? What do you want to do?
I know what I want to do. Shall we go?
And that's our next expression from the conversation we saw, ikoka.
Ikou. Ka. Ikou ka.
which takes ikou, let's go, and puts the question marking particle ka on the end and gives us ikou ka, which means want to go or shall we go? And that wraps up all of our expressions today. All right, now let's dive into today's main point, which is the particle ni. It marks where you move, where you go to. And today we used the verb ikou a lot, to go. And so what you do when you're using the particle ni is you'll take any normal sentence. So we'll start with the subject and mark it with the particle wa to make it the topic / subject. And then after that, we can put the direction that we're going into or the destination that we go to. And then we're going to put the particle ni after it. It's kind of like saying to in English, as in to go to school or to go to Japan. And then finally, the verb goes at the end of our sentence, and we're going to use iku and ikou and ikoka a lot today. And we have these example sentences, which we'll have Tarik translate for us into English. So the first one is this. Tariku wa Tokyo ni iku. Tariku wa Tokyo ni iku.
That would translate to Tarik is going to Tokyo.
Good. As in future tense, Tarik is going or Tarik will go to Tokyo. Our next sentence is America ni ikou ka?
And that is, shall we go to America?
And once again, we had ikou ka there, which, what does that mean?
Shall we go?
Nice. Next, we have Yui-san wa Nihon ni iku. Again, that's Yui-san wa Nihon ni iku.
Yui is going to Japan. Jay-sensei, guess what?
What?
My little brother is in Japan right now, having the fucking time of his life.
Excellent.
While I'm over here just seething in jealousy. I had him link up with some of my friends over there, and dude, it looks like he's having the fucking time of his life while I'm waving my fist at the clouds, but still happy for him at the same time.
That's awesome. Which part of Japan is he in right now?
Right now he's in Kyoto, but he started off in Osaka, spent a little time in Tokyo, now he's in Kyoto. Yeah, dude, looks like he's having a really good time.
Well, congrats to him. Like it's a good time to go. The
cherry blossoms.
Yeah, that's true too. Like spring's just around the corner, and currently, economically speaking, right, as we're recording this lesson, currently the yen to US dollar exchange rate favors the dollar. So if you happen to be listening to this podcast around this time, just keep in mind that you kind of get the American dollar discount these days when you go to Japan. It's almost like 30%, maybe more like 25% now off of every purchase.
That's really good. I mean, for Americans traveling over there.
And anyone who just like, I think the euro's pretty comparable too. Just right now in the United States. So I was with my family skiing. That's why I have like a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer nose right now. Got nicely sunburnt and whatnot. But
楽しかった?
すごく楽しかったです. It was a lot of fun. And we bought like a hamburger, and it was like close to $20.
That is a Takai hamburger.
Yeah, it was すごく高かった. Like it was very expensive for a pretty cheap hamburger, to be honest. Tasted good, but like it wasn't my idea of a $20 hamburger. And it's crazy, in Japan you can still like get really good quality meals that are cheap, but like, they still fill you up for under $5. So sorry, I didn't mean to make you more jealous of your brother. What have I done?
Hold on. 今、次のページに行こう.
Let's go to the next page now, which is our exercises. So, listeners, I'm going to read some sentences in English, and I want you to try to translate them into Japanese. Remember to compare your work with ours by pausing it after I read the English, and then attempting to translate it yourself, and then comparing your translation with how we put it together. So let's start with number 1, which is this. Tomorrow will go to America. All right, Tarik, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, Tomorrow wa America ni ikou.
Hai, seikai desu. So Tarik used tomoro wa to make tomoro the subject. Then he took America and marked it with the particle ni to say to America, and then ended with the verb ikou. Now, he's going to have to conjugate that verb ikou for our next sentence, which is this, number 2. Let's go to the restaurant.
Resturan ni ikou.
Nice. That's perfect. Restoran ni ikou. So, Tark, how did you change to go to let's go?
With ikou, I put an O before the U to extend the sound to make it go from ikou to ikou.
Cool. I like the way you think about it. I think I would have normally explained that a little bit differently, but I think that the way you thought about it probably is going to be useful for a lot of listeners.
Yeah, there we go.
Number 3 is I will go to Japan tomorrow. Ooh, Tark. I didn't mention to listeners that time expressions typically go after the topic or subject, but words like tomorrow, today, and yesterday, they don't really even need a particle. So can you show everyone how to use a time expression in addition to all the other stuff we learned today?
Mochiron. So, tomorrow in Japanese is ashita. Ashita. Or if we want to be technical, ashita. Ashita. So, in this scenario, when I say I will go to Japan tomorrow, I say ashita Nihon ni ikou.
Nice. And Tarik didn't even say watashi wa at the very beginning because often the subject is implied. However, typically as a listener, I understand that the subject or the topic is still in the sentence. It just doesn't have to be said. But let's say that someone explicitly wanted to say it because maybe they switched the subject, right? Tarik, how would they explicitly say I, as opposed to somebody else, will go to Japan tomorrow?
俺は明日日本に行く.
Nice. All right. So our last sentence for today is wanna go to a movie? This also could translate to want to go to the movies.
So, I would imagine it would be Eiga ni ikou ka. Eiga ni ikou ka.
Dude, I officially give you 100 points!
Woo!
Out of 1,000, you failure. Just kidding. All right. No, that was excellent. Let's get on to the naughty word of the day.
Oh.
Yeah, so in the spirit of talking about going to different places, we have some expressions from Japanese that you would only use to people who you want to get away from you as quickly as possible.
Oh, I'm going to like using these. Love using these.
So how you translate this into English really doesn't matter as long as it captures the feeling of anger.
The emotion.
The emotion of anger, yeah, because you really shouldn't use these things to anyone who you love or don't want to make angry. Because this shows a high level of disapproval.
and disdain, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, for example, I actually was dating this one person, and her dad really didn't like me. And he told me the first one, which means basically like get lost or, yeah, like get out of here kind of thing.
So how would you pronounce that slowly?
It's dete ke, but he was more like dete.
And so did he like detiketa? Did you?
Oh, did I get
end
out
up?
of there? Hai dete ikimashita. I totally left. Technically, this is just a verb that means to leave, but it's in like a very strong like command form, an imperative form. Deteke. And you know, this next one in application, it means the same thing, but literally it comes from the verb for to disappear or to vanish.
Quiero.
Exactly. So now it's been changed into that. command form again.
Right. I see. So it is ki e ro. Quiero. But if it wasn't the command form, what would the verb normally be?
Ah, kieru.
Quiero. So if I am talking about me after a one night stand, I would say quiero. But if she knows what I'm up to and she's like, you dirty dog, she'd say quiero. Right?
Yeah, like, and kind of one thing that is a little bit different about this one than the first one is there's also kind of this meaning of go kill yourself, I think, in this one here as well. So
Oh.
it's like they kind of erase your existence, kind of like nuance too. So it's super
Right.
mean. Like I like this is one of those things that like you shouldn't use against other people, but if someone uses it to you, you really need to know what it means.
Right. Because you might find yourself with a little fist in your face. Or,
Yeah, like if someone's like Chiro and you're like Watashi wa Nihongo ga wakarimasen, then yeah, you're gonna get a fistful of hate. Tark, what'd you think of the naughty words for today?
I thought they were great. I'm going to use a few of them in my everyday life.
And listeners, if you end up using any of these naughty words or any of the expressions taught in today's lesson, please leave us a comment letting us know how it goes and how a Japanese knuckle sandwich tastes.
Oh, I'm sure it tastes like sushi.
Dude, I feel like saying knuckle sandwich totally dates me as a 90s kid.
Dude, knuckle sandwiches will never get old, okay? Knuckle sandwiches are timeless, all right? So long as the knuckle exists, right?
There
Knuckle
shall be
sandwich.
sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly.
No one will starve.
Exactly.
You're not starving whenever you can have a knuckle sandwich. Sounds like a really mean, sadistic thing to say to someone.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I have knuckle sandwiches in abundance. So, yeah.
And with that in mind, listeners, today we learned about how to talk about going to places and the particle ni and the various verbs and verb forms. What was the coolest thing that you learned today? Please let us know in the comments. Tark, what are they going to be learning about next time?
Next time, we are learning about more uses for the particle ni, such as talking about where you go to do an action.
Yeah, in the last sentence of the conversation, we saw tabe ni ikou ka, which means let's go eat sushi. And we're going to actually have a whole lesson based on that stuff next time. So please be excited. We'll also give you some more. Oh, Tarek's hungry for more Japanese. You'll just have to wait till next time, I guess. All right, everyone. Thanks for studying with us today. 今日一緒に勉強してくれてありがとうございました。And we will see you in our next lesson. またね。
また今度, motherfuckers!